But I just wonder how you are in Europe in as much as I always think people should want to leave, but
Yeah,
you're okay
yeah.
there.
Well, I see what you mean. I see where you're going. I feel that's the same. But I still have my base in France, which is a good place. It's a safe place. I'm now in Holland because I have to take care of some personal stuff here and some get some things out of a storage. But the environment is getting more and more difficult to be in on different levels. It's not only radiation; it's also socially and the whole social engineering and all these kinds of influences in society. It's a collapse in your face, really. I was at a 5G demonstration last week in The Hague, and then if you see how many people are coming there, and then it's being portrayed as all kinds of lunatic conspiracy freaks on the news for 8 seconds. So there were like 800 or 900 people. So it's really bad in a
Yeah.
certain way. And then you have, of course, the social engineering and the mass immigration in France and countries. You see, we're prepared for something in a certain way. We're going in a certain direction that makes you think, yeah, Europe is not a good place to stay, to be in. So
I mean,
I will.
it's the direction, maybe Europe is wealthy and rich comparable to other countries, but it's the direction that society's going in. If there's more hope and things get better in some manner or not.
No, it's going the other way
Yeah.
actually,
Yeah.
and most people think because they're completely worshipping AI and technology and Elon Musk kind of profits, and so they think it's going in the right direction, and we're happy. But it's going the other way actually. We're going through to a sort of climax at a certain way. You never know where it's going, but if you see the whole demographic changes in society, and then the poverty is off the scale. And now with the climate, this climate tyranny that people are being forced to use all kinds of sustainable crap, and they cannot pay it anymore. So here in Holland, for instance, they raised the gas prices with 10, 20 cents, which is for elderly people impossible. They cannot, and they use the most because they're mostly inside and using a lot of heating. But so I mean, it's like a pressure cooker. You really feel it's like a pressure cooker. It's not like you try not to have your own personal fear or whatever in it, but if you look at it or if you feel it, and besides the radiation, which is also, but so it is like a pressure cooker. Civil unrest and things like that. It's increasing.
It's got to happen, the civil unrest. There's actually a lot of protests around the world. I was looking at them all. Moscow, Hong Kong, France, and well, Algeria. There's something big cooking in Egypt apparently for later this week. Maybe they'll get overthrown. But there's a lot of disquiet. But there's no solutions anywhere. No one's got. It's not like we're rallying around an ideology. Um, I think we just have to break it all down.
Yeah, and I think it's not possible to stop this monstrous matrix of control and tyranny. That's you cannot stop it. I
No,
think that's not realistic.
I
So
agree.
I think they will try to keep it as long as possible controllable. That because it's for everybody unknown. For engineering or alchemical engineer, social engineering, it's going in a certain direction, but it's still unknown where it exactly will go. But it will go for sure to a chaos point, and then yeah, what will happen then for everybody, the controllers or the ones who are controlled, it's not clear where that's going, but it's going to this direction of total chaos and collapse,
You
which
know,
is
it's probably in tandem with the environment, with the ecology. The collapse of our societies is probably in parallel with the way the weather and the climate is going and everything else. I don't know what you're experiencing there, but a lot of more extreme weather and around the world, really.
yeah. Well, climate manipulation, climate engineering, weather warfare technology, that's a huge topic as well, and it's blatant as it can be. And that of course goes hand in hand. Geoengineering is a big part of the manipulation and to steer society in a certain direction, especially with climate, the climate agenda and sustainable agendas and global warming. All these things are very much tied into geoengineering.
There's a UN treaty about weather manipulation, and no country is permitted to engage in it except for experimental purposes.
Yeah.
So, by its very nature, no one can actually publicize what they're doing. They have to keep it a secret because it's banned.
Yeah, and now they try to bring it as a sort of solution, and it's in a proposal phase. But any person with some knowledge of meteorology who looks at the sky or a pilot, they know that's completely unnatural what you see today. These weather phenomena, or the hurricane, this Hurricane Dorian, which was stationed for 30 hours at the same position, which that happened for the first time, which is impossible. A hurricane is always on the move; it's always dynamic. Otherwise, it's loose. That's impossible. So, but this hurricane was exactly spot on for 30 hours at the same spot. Wow. Over the Bahamas, over the food basket of the whole area there, exactly, by the way. But so these dynamics and the atmospheric conditions when it was growing were not in line with the natural conditions which are that. So, but that's only one part. The weather phenomena are completely ridiculously unnatural what you're witnessing, and this technology is there. It's documented. It's
there's so much statistics. I was listening to Dane Wigington. He's the biggest name, I think, in geoengineering. But I was just flooded with statistics. It was more than it just paralyzed me. I don't know what the answer is, but we've got to start to analyze things and feel about things in a different way. You know, you can't just dissect everything in a statistical manner.
No, but the historical facts are there. Weather warfare is not new. It's there. It's published. It's done. They have experimented with it in all wars, all operations. Operation Popeye, Operation Cirrus, Operation Storm Fury. Already in the 40s. That was in the 40s, in 1947, when they were experimenting with hurricanes, with enforcing hurricanes or dying them off. This technology is there. It's so why do
yeah, it's so in keeping with what we're living through, manipulating nature. It's as if that's the essence of the ruling ideology. I mean, whatever's natural, they want to manipulate.
Yeah, and of course, this is the core problem that we just have disconnected from nature within and in the exterior and have connected with technology, with AI, and see that as religion, as God, and worshipping it instead of nature. We're completely disconnected from nature. That's, of course, one of the root causes why we are in this situation, I think, as a species. But
well, the people in the cities have got the biggest threat impending upon them. They're the most divorced from nature. And there are kind of Vedic writings where, you know, people will, in the end, people will leave the cities and go back to the forests. But I think that's probably accurate.
Yeah, yeah, I see some more people moving out of the cities, elderly people, because of course the new younger generation is engineered to live in this toxic microwave, and they like it. They are the happy slaves, the feminized men. They're not rural, wild, connected with nature anymore. So that's this new generation, of course, socially engineered, which is completely spiritual, weak as well. We're weak, of course. Most people are completely tired and desperate, of course. That's also a state of mind. That people are just demotivated and they think, well, what can you do? They're tired of all the wars, and we're being hammered with all this fear. Come from all directions, so it's difficult. We're weakened. We're weakened. So that's of course not a good condition in a spiritual war zone, which it is. Society today is a war zone, but people don't want to see it like that, of course.
In the course of our conversation, we've covered a great deal, but we never mentioned the quantity of homeless people. And you see it with your own eyes, particularly in Britain, and from what I hear in America. It was unheard of a few decades ago. And Yeah, we're run by racketeers. The whole system is a racket now.
Yes. Yeah, you cannot escape it. So then the question where to go now is also a difficult question because you cannot escape it. Of course, there are certain areas, pockets where it's better to be, maybe for what's coming and what's happening. But it's very difficult to escape it. But at the same time, it's always good to remember that this is the condition which pushes us to a certain limit where we need to be in order to access certain parts of our consciousness to overcome this and to realize who we really are. It's a huge opportunity at the same time. It's very difficult, the suffering, all this stuff, but it contains amazing opportunities still. I'm still very much thinking of that.
We probably have a very positive period ahead of us where there's a kind of protest spreads like wildfire and a consciousness and the end of the censorship, and we start to hear some real news of how things are really being run, because a lot of us are in the dark, don't have a clue.
Yeah, yeah, it is true, and it is these are definitely dark times, and but it's a sort of self-eating monster. This whole matrix, it's sort of overdoing it as well. It's getting ridiculous, certain aspects, or that people think this is really absurd what they're now coming up with. Same with the climate and global warming with this girl Greta Thunberg, who's traveling all over the world. This little girl is completely an MK Ultra poster girl for this globalist preaching about global warming. But a lot of people see that. What is this? He's going with this sailing yacht boat to New York, and then the cruise flying back to Germany. It all doesn't make any sense. So people seeing more and more the absurdity of everything. Also, so it's a sort of self-eating snake. The snake eats its own tail. But it's difficult to look from a distance if you're in it, of course, in the cities. And then
We're just led astray by public figures, by celebrities. The degree of manipulation and mind control involved in it all, in controlling our attitudes. And we're discussing the topics that are presented to us, like Epstein was murdered, for example. That's a headline. Or Assange is in jail. And we don't have a clue what the true story is anywhere along the line. But everyone's discussing it. So
yeah.
it's a little hopeless. But you mentioned the crew flying back for a minute, and you happen to have an expertise about planes. Are there any developments in the world of planes that you can tell us about?
In what sense? In the sense
Any
of
sense?
toxicity?
No. I mean, I think there's still a fascination in us all for progress and technology, whatever. I don't know. Are there any new developments, new inventions, or
No,
new
well,
awareness?
not that I know. In aviation, I mean, aviation is for me, civil aviation is for me the evidence that the whole global warming climate agenda is just a hoax. Why is it possible still to fly cheaper? They're building a new airport in Holland, a new airport. They have permission now to expand. While the air quality in Holland is the worst in Europe and one of the worst in the world, actually.
Wow.
Yeah, so that doesn't make any sense. So I don't see any developments of healthier
Aren't
flying.
the flying? I think the planes contribute a huge proportion of either pollution or weather altering substances, or
Yeah, yeah.
something out of proportion to their size.
Yeah, well, it is out of proportion what you see in the skies. I mean, they are intrinsic part of geoengineering. Civil aviation is now a very important, the most important part of geoengineering. I think if they stop flying for a big part, which would be a very logical thing to do with this thing of climate change, then it falls apart. The whole thing
Well,
that needs to.
the hot air balloons should work. The
Yeah,
Zeppelin,
Zeppelins.
yes.
Yeah, the Zeppelins. Yeah. But in Belgium, they now have a new fuel for cars. It's a sort of ethanol kind of fuel, which is bio, blah, 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 bio and green. But it costs €2.20 per liter because they tax it the same percentage as the old fuel. So this is where we're going. You cannot pay it anymore in the future or now already for a lot of people. They just cannot pay it anymore, and it's all for the green agenda. Then they make the fuel more expensive, electricity, all these things. So you see where this is going. It's total tyranny in your face. It's not about same with the 5G. I had a discussion with somebody. He says, well, it's you use as well phone, but it's about free choice. You don't have a choice anymore. That's a problem. You don't have a free choice, free will. I don't want to be exposed to this or that. There's no choice anymore in the future. That's the problem.
Our choices are very limited. I mean, even what we can talk about and say and hear, and
Yes. Yeah.
but you mentioned that. I mean, it is the age of, I guess, carbons, oils. That's what we've lived through. Do you have any insights on the Aramco story in Saudi Arabia, or it kind of passed you by?
No, no, no. I mean, saw something with the drone attacks and things like that, and then they try to. I mean, they're trying to create war there with Iran, of course. That's the agenda. Most people know that this is a push for a war with Iran, and then the oil prices are being off the scale, and then I think it's all part of a manipulation, of course. These drone attacks there. Or, I don't know. I didn't see that much of the. I didn't
No,
look
no, that's
into it
fine.
really.
I pay a lot of attention to the Middle East, and I have a good
Yeah.
imagination. It takes over, but it might be about taking Saudi Arabia down at this point. It might, there might be a lot of collusion from the West. We don't know.
Yeah, and then of course the oil prices and energy prices will go sky high as well. Of course, this is all part to bring society down. This is not a coincidence. All these events are not just spontaneous coincidences. It's part of an agenda, of course.
No, I
So
agree. I
I don't.
agree that there's an agenda to kind of destroy society that
Yeah,
we live through.
yeah,
There are people
yeah.
very active in doing that.
Yeah, I mean everybody gets sick here in Holland. It's amazing health issues. 1 in 5 children has asthma. They talk about this air quality, of course, but there's a metal blanket over the planet, so all the smog, all the pollution cannot escape. There's way less pollution, by the way, than it was like 50 years ago with factories and all these filtering systems, and there's way less heavy metals produced by these factories since the 50s, 60s, or that period. So it doesn't make any sense. But we're getting sick. All we're getting sick. So why is that? If
Yep.
society was prosperous and everything was going to be better,
No, I
we're
mean
going to see better health.
Holland has gives you the image of a progressive nation, progressive people.
Well, if you look around you, it's shocking. If you walk on the streets in the cities, it's not Holland anymore. Besides that, it's like you're walking somewhere in the Middle East or whatever countries, and people look very unhealthy, and depressed. So that's the state of society. It's not prosperous at all. It's not going to be better. But this new generation likes it. They like these fake trees or whatever. They don't see any art anymore. If you see the art on the streets, or they cut all the trees here now for all kinds of ridiculous reasons. It's for 5G, of course, and then people don't even see that, or they don't even mind it. It's suicidal as well. This Holland.
We have to find a positive note here, you know,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
we
Well, that's what we just said. This whole thing needs to go. That's the positive thing. You cannot create real change if you don't go to the root level. And that's what's happening. It's completely collapsing. And that's exactly what needs to happen. And it contains huge opportunities on an individual level to really realize who we really are instead of this ego, false self, materialistic, physical, temporarily reality. So
I mean, it's such a commercial world now. It's terrible. I mean,
yeah,
most of us are, just looking to get some money, but also, of course, you can use the money, but I mean, it's kind of replacing relationships and other values that we had previously. And we had
yeah.
values of just being good and doing good at some point. but they've kind of been exploited, abused. They're no longer there.
Yeah, and it's really a communist mindset with, of course, a Marxist curriculum on the outcome-based education system. So it's like in China, it's the country where the most people are enthusiastic and supporting their government. Of course, this is the programming, but you see it here as well. People worshipping money, work. You have a job, and the government, they don't question the government. So this is another way of programming, but it's the same kind of dynamic in a communistic. It's a communist society with a different face, Marxist, more cultural Marxist face, but it's the same. People are self-censoring massively. They don't dare to speak about any subject almost. So this is of course programming, social engineering, and obsessed with selfie cultures. I mean, you see people on Instagram, so-called influencers with millions of followers, they talk about completely nothing, fake or images from food or whatever, nothing and nothingness, and they're worshipping it. And and then a 5G
Well,
demonstration, there are
they
800
also
people.
they get promoted, you know. I mean, on YouTube as well. All these people get
Yeah,
promoted,
yeah.
but yeah, I don't know. Um,
Same with football or sport. If you see this worshipping of football and sports and music, of course, all this
and
completely.
gaming. I mean, I can't. It's unfair of me to be negative about everything, but a lot of it's very trivial. It seems.
Yeah, it is. It is, and people prefer that. They want just to have it good. They want to have the feeling that everything is okay and everything
Yeah.
is fine, and the government take care of them, all these kinds of things. And
So
yeah, so it's
escapism.
but yeah, good. So yeah, no, it's not looking good, and in that sense. But there are other dynamics that we should focus on, the opportunities and the possibilities, and in this environment, which are there, they are there as well. So that's another thing. You can also focus on certain aspects, and if you have real contact, what you just say, if you meet with people real. I'm meeting with amazing people at the same time, still new people I didn't know before, and I'm going to the UK to meet with some people never met real. So that's really good to really go out, because people are locked in these phones and
Well,
in
I think our biggest weakness is we've been estranged from community and roots.
yeah,
And you know, it's an endless cycle meeting new people, and it's very rewarding and it's good fun. But we need the familiarity and the intimacy as well, and the
yeah,
support
yeah,
network, and that's all gone. That's what's
yeah.
weakened us.
Yeah, yeah, we need that real contact and real interaction, and we're
Yeah.
disconnected from that. We're disconnected from nature, natural interaction. People are completely on their phones and afraid for real interaction, and they have these narcissistic tendencies. Also, I was last week at a train station. There was an old woman. She was crying, and it was such a sweet woman. So I walked to her, and the people were just standing around it with their phones. And yeah, I just had contact with her physically also. Just yeah, it's not easy. I didn't even know why she was crying. It's an elderly lady, and she's such a sweet lady. But the people standing around it, and then they think, yeah, they're just in a sort of spell. But we need to go out of this spell. Maybe the censorship is helping as well, because I put all this energy, and then I think, okay, for why should you put all this energy? Just go out, and then that's more rewarding and more effectively to
I
really
mean,
meet with people.
how long have these phones and laptops been around that in a mass sense? I mean, speaking for myself, I'm at the screen all the time, you know. It's not healthy. It's not good, but I mean,
No,
I'm
no,
speaking about most of the world, or most of the what we call developed world, you know.
yeah.
It's completely
Yeah, well,
altered us.
there is a dualistic thing in it, because you meet people. I mean, I would never have met with you, for instance, or other loads of friends I have who I not even met in real time, where I consider as real friends. A lot of people have that, of course. That comes also with the internet. Of course, you meet with
Oh,
amazing
there's
people.
tremendous positive sides to it. Our knowledge, our
Yeah,
awareness, our
yeah,
consciousness has really
yeah,
risen,
yeah,
especially
yeah,
in the golden age of YouTube, when it was really a great place
yeah,
to learn from.
yeah. Yeah, now they're centralizing this, all these aspects in society, the centralization, they just they swallow it all, sort of this, and take it back, or for other reasons. But I agree, there
You know,
was it
uh,
has changed, but
there was this interview, obviously prepared and planned, with the CEO of YouTube. She's a lady, and you would expect an executive director, the chief, to have a vision. And I don't know. I didn't listen to much of it. I just saw some glimpses, but all she was talking about was censorship from beginning to end. She'd been reduced to being a policewoman. You
yeah,
know, that's
yeah,
all she was.
yeah. Yeah, and they robotize. They are really sort of semi-robots doing their job. But it's, yeah, it's true. It's just a surveillance. They just work for a huge surveillance apparatus,
Well,
and
they'll
they're
lose their
fine with that.
job otherwise.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of
Yeah.
people that do what they do. There's more concessions because otherwise they lose their job or their finances, which is understandable to a certain degree. People operate from fear. In that sense, I saw it in aviation, of course, with this insane nerve gas exposure, which is still ongoing. That they're still talking about it. That they need more research financed by the industry itself to come up with other exposure limits for nerve gas exposure in airplanes. I mean,
Yeah.
it's ridiculous. Of course, the same with the agriculture in France. Now they realize that a lot of people have cancer in elderly because there's a huge amount of organophosphates, and then they try to change. Just they don't say we stop with this poison. No, they're going to change locations of schools, not at the monoculture areas. They don't, it's the other way around. It's like cutting all the trees for traffic safety. They cut the trees.
I hope we're going to be alive long enough to see where this is leading to.
Well, sometimes you don't want to be alive because to where it's leading, but I see what you mean. It's very interesting where it's going. This
Well,
reality.
certainly a weakness of character and health is a big part of it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And we're spiritually weak. We live in a war zone, in a spiritual war zone, and people don't want to face that because they want to think it's okay and it's fine. No, this is a war zone, and it's a soft war zone with all these kinds of concepts and all this electronic warfare, which we're using for our own convenience, and social engineering, multiculturalism. These are all soft war zone concepts, or sort of, but it will transform into another thing if you think logically. That's just
I,
logic. It's not
there isn't really a vision of repair for me. I mean, it's gone so far that you can't go back and you can't fix anything. You
no.
really have to start again.
Yeah, yeah,
You can't start with all these worldwide structures. You have to lose
no,
them.
yes. Well, and that's what's happening. It's collapsing at the same time, and it's engineered, but it's unknown for everybody where this is going. So
Yeah.
there are other aspects. I mean, these people think they can control nature. I mean, how pathetic is that? You can destroy nature or repair it. That's the most arrogant, insane thought there is. It's
I
not
think
possible to destroy this planet or fix it as human beings.
I think I grew up with the consciousness of there being class divisions, and you're lower class, middle class, working class, upper class, and even that has become rather foggy. I think now there's just gangsters at the top, and they're
Yeah,
dictating everything, and then there's just a big blob underneath. It's really
yeah,
difficult to
yeah,
make sense of anything
yeah,
now.
yeah. Well, if we can make sense of ourselves, realize who we really are, access that, access these realms, overcome these fears to the root level as well, face the fears and overcome these fears, then it's not really this whole monstrous creation, which has always been controlled. I think these cycles of climaxes and escalations and cosmic shifts or whatever it comes then we can start all over again with it.
Yeah, I think we'd all be very happy to start again.
Yes, yeah. I think so too.
There must be a kind of mass depression, you know?
Yeah, yeah, it's an epidemic. So depression is an engineered epidemic for sure, and people's suicide here is off the scale. I mean, nobody talks about it. It's #1 cause of death on the children in Holland. So why is not everybody speaking about this every day until there's no child having suicidal thoughts anymore?
I forget the statistics, but in the United Kingdom, it's the #1 or #2 cause of death amongst men. I don't know, from 18 to 50 or something like that.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah,
yeah, people are just taking their lives. They're so
yes,
disappointed.
yeah,
And in
yeah,
and in the midst of all the anguish, you're just getting advertising thrown at you all the time. Buy this, buy that, buy this, buy that. And you're
yeah,
kind of choking and suffocating from it.
yeah, yeah. Okay, Morris, let's.
Give it a
I
wrap.
have to go. Yeah, I have. If possible, yes, I have to take care of some things.
Yeah, okay, listen,
It's
thanks a
good.
million. Thanks a million.
It's good. It's good to see you again, Morris. And I will check with my web host today. I speak with him later because I have problems with my website as well. But and then I can bring you in contact if you want.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate that. I've got the host and the domain name, so I'm most of the way
Okay.
there.
Okay.
Okay.
I will do that.
All
All
right.
right.
Thank you, Willem.
So for you're still on the same donations things with PayPal and all these things. These are still working.
No, you're very right to ask that question. They are still working, but in the back of my mind, I've got a host in Iceland. Oh, they can't touch me. Of course they can. They can kill the donation things. They can close
Yeah.
those down.
Yeah.
There's no
Yeah.
beating them, really.
No, there isn't. No, you don't beat them. On that level, you don't beat them. On
No,
another level, you can beat them very much because they operate from fear, of course. This whole control insanity is fear-based. So if you overcome your own fears, then it's all pathetic theater, which cannot
well, as
harm
long as
you.
you've got food on your plate, you're okay.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, so that's good to know then. You have still your PayPal donation. That's the same.
That's the same, and I've got a bank account. That's what I ask for in every video.
Good.
It's a
Okay.
miracle to live like this. Okay.
It is. Okie doke. Okay, Morris.
All
Let's
right.
keep in touch then. Take good
Yes.
care. Eh?
Thank you, Willem. I'll see you soon.
Thank you. Bye
Okay.
bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.